Welcome to Target Success. Our weekly cable television program brings us leaders from the fields of education, business, government, and economic development to discuss their successful programs and ventures. Today we have with us the Dean of the School of Hospitality and Tourism at Niagara University, Dr. Gary Praetzel. Welcome, Gary. We're very happy to have you.
Jerry, thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate it very much.
You're involved with a program at Niagara University that's been in existence since 1968. You've been there since 1999, and there's been actually many changes from that first program to what now is a very successful college that brings in an international feeling to Niagara University. Tell us about that.
Jerry, actually we've gone through many changes. As you mentioned, the program started in 1968, and actually at that time we offered the world's first bachelor's degree in tourism. And at that time it was an innovative program. It was started by Rabbi Porath, and he had a very innovative concept. He was a person that saw Niagara Falls as a great tourism destination, but we needed more professionalism in the area, and he put that into action. Rabbi Porath then founded the Institute of Transportation, Travel, and Tourism, and then it evolved over the years. In 1987, it became the Institute of Travel, Hospitality, and Restaurant Administration, and then in 2001, it became the College of Hospitality and Tourism Management.
And it is such a unique program, and I have the luxury of being an adjunct there, that people need to realize that that management part is a very, very important part of the title and of the work done at Niagara. And I refer to that in comparison to other programs that are entry level for people into this field after they graduate. This is not exactly an entry-level job when they get out of the university's program. Tell us about that.
Jerry, that's correct. We have 3 majors in our college, and there's a major in hotel and restaurant management, in tourism and recreation management, and in sport management. But all our majors have one purpose in mind, and that's to train students to be managers in the hospitality, tourism, and sport industry. And in those industries, the percentage of management positions could be approximately 25%, roughly speaking, in each of those industries. But that's our objective, is to make people managers. We have an applied management program, so it's the same kind of courses you'll find in a business program, the same management principles, but the focus is on hospitality, tourism, and sport.
Now that leads to jobs that start at a different rate of pay annually than an entry-level position. So your graduates, when they leave the College of Hospitality and Tourism at Niagara University, start at some fairly significant rates.
Yes, they do, Jerry. We're very proud of the placement of our students, and quite honestly, the main focus of our College of Hospitality and Tourism Management is on student placement. Over the last 9 years, we've had 100% placement, so all the students in our program have full-time jobs soon after graduation. But the key part is not just getting a job, because a lot of times a person can find a job, let's face it. But the key part is getting a great job with a great company where you have the opportunities to advance in a company and or perhaps use that experience and move to a better employer. All the employers that we work with are companies that we want to work with as faculty ourselves. We don't work with companies that, quite honestly, we don't want to work with. But what we do is we bring to campus, at our career fair, we have about 50 companies that come to campus to recruit our students. Some are local, some are regional, many are national and international in focus. So it's really the best companies in the hospitality, tourism, and sport industry that recruit our students.
And those are names that are very common to people in the tourism business, whether it's Marriott, whether it's some of the large companies in the world, you have that advantage of bringing them to the campus that people can talk with them, and our students can talk with them. For example, at the Waldorf Astoria, which is a Hilton property, you have a number of your graduates working.
Yes, we do. And as a matter of fact, over the last 9 years in their management program, they've hired more students out of Niagara University than any hospitality and tourism program in the country. And that would include, well-known names like Cornell, Michigan State, Johnson and Wales. So the placement of the Niagara students has really been exceptional. And that's what I was talking to about before, referring to the idea that our students aren't just getting jobs, but they're getting jobs with the best employers. And what that means is the start of a great career with great starting salaries. Now, some of those students, they're starting in those kind of positions, $50,000 and more is what they're starting in those kind of positions.
Dr. Steven Siegel has been very well connected to the Waldorf by bringing his senior class to work on structural problems within the management sector at the Waldorf. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. And what Professor Siegel actually did, Jerry, he designed a consulting course with the Waldorf Astoria. So what he did was he worked with senior management, and he asked senior management, what kind of issues do you have? What kind of problems do you have that are important to the hotel, but perhaps you don't have time to work on them? So therefore, they gave us things to work on, different aspects of the hotel operation to study, and we did that. So we had teams of students working on those issues. Sometimes it's been technology issues, sometimes it's been check-in issues, but it's issues that's made a difference of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the students, under the direction of Professor Siegel, worked on those issues, then made a presentation to the executive management team, and then follow with a written report to that executive team. So we've been the only program in the country to do that kind of program with the Waldorf Astoria.
I just think it's just marvelous, great to have that type of connection. Internationally, you have several programs that students can take advantage of in being at some of the world's best hotels. Tell us about that.
Yeah, to me, the international programs are key. And why I think they're so important is because hospitality and tourism is the world's single largest industry. 10% of the worldwide labor force work in hospitality and tourism. And let's face it, as a student, sometime when you're working, you're probably going to be working abroad, or you're certainly going to be working for an international company. You mentioned Marriott before. Well, they have operations in 80 countries. Or you could be working for a foreign-owned company. And certainly everyone today is working with international customers. So to have that ability to work internationally is key. And we have 3 well-developed programs in the major. One is a work abroad program in Lake Como, Italy, where the students actually work in luxury hotels. And one of those hotels, the Villa d'Este, has been ranked #1 in the world. There's a second program in Peru, and that's a true cultural immersion program. Like the program in Italy, it has a work component, but there's also a volunteer component because Peru it's a poor country. And the students will work in orphanages and spend some time, in that kind of volunteer capacity. Be a culinary experience, you learn more about the society, and they take some coursework. They come back fluent in Spanish. And the third program that we do is a dual degree program. And that program is a student from Niagara would study their final year in Germany, all the instructions in English. That's at our partner school there. They receive then a degree from Niagara and a degree in either international hospitality or international tourism from our partner. So 2 degrees, 4 years, same cost, no difference in cost, but a lot more marketability.
That's very, very interesting. You also bring Italian students to Niagara in the fall, 10 students that come also. So besides Niagara students going to Italy, you have 10 students coming from Italy to Niagara, which is a nice cultural, um, let's say, connection to the students at Niagara, getting a chance to learn more about their Italian, let's say, classmates.
Yeah, and Jerry, it makes a big difference in the classroom, and you see it yourself as an instructor in our attractions and event management class, that when you have students from a different country into the classroom, and all our classes are small, it changes the dynamic of that classroom. And so that's made a big difference in our program, having the Italian students here and in campus life. And in the German dual degree program, that's also an exchange program too. So we have students going to Germany, and then we have students from Germany doing the same thing here, where they'll study for a year at Niagara, and they too are in our classrooms interacting with our students. So again, it changes the whole complexion of those classrooms.
In another facet of your work at Niagara, you have developed a club management program that is exceptional. In other words, students can go to work in country clubs and get, I should say internships, and also can get jobs in doing event management there. But the club management group at Niagara has been #1 in the country. Tell us about that.
Jerry, it's a tremendous program. It's a really nice niche program. And our student chapter of the Club Managers Association of America for the past 3 years has been ranked #1 student chapter in the country. And it's quite a feat when you consider there's about 55 active student chapters across the United States at some of the biggest universities. And the great part about that program and why it was ranked, why it has been ranked #1, is for one simple reason: the professionalism of the students and the placement of our students. Each and every student out of that program has received a full-time job, usually with a top 10 ranked country club. So they're going to working at, say, the Los Angeles Country Club, or it could be Rolling Rock in Pennsylvania, or Chevy Chase in Maryland, or the Cherokee Club in Atlanta. So they're getting tremendous jobs, again, starting salaries in that $40,000, $50,000 range. And then on top of it, all the younger students, all the ones who are freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, they all have full-time summer jobs working in clubs all across the country. And the club managers have recognized that the Niagara student is different. And it's the same thing that when we were talking about with the hotel employer. It could be the Waldorf Astoria, it could be the Marriott, it could be the Hyatt, it could be the Carlisle and the whole Rosewood group, Four Seasons. We just had several students, again, hired by Four Seasons. But they all recognize that difference in the Niagara student.
You also have a new chapter that's been formed with the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Tell us about that.
It's an interesting program. We're the 13th or 14th student chapter of American Hotel and Lodging Association in the country, and the first one in New York State. And it really represents the strength of our hotel program. And what that student chapter does, it brings a lot more knowledge to our students and interaction with industry leaders. A lot of the main people in AH&LA will come to campus. Like, as an example, we just had on campus the chairman of the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Her name is Nancy Johnson, and her real job is that she's the executive vice president of development of the Americas for Carlson Hotels Worldwide, which is the 9th largest hotel company in the world. They have products like Radisson and Country Inn Suites and 3 other hotel brands. But those kind of people will come to campus. They'll work with our students. Our students will also go to conferences and conventions offered by American Hotel and Lodging Association. So they then have the opportunity to interact with industry leaders. They go to professional development sessions, so they learn more about the current trends and challenges that the industry is facing, but allows them, Jerry, to be face-to-face with industry leaders. And when we do things like this, and we do a lot of it, we do 12 major industry excursions a year across our college, it opens up doors, placement doors, internship doors for our students.
I believe Mrs. Bradshaw does a program with cruises that you do also. Tell us about that.
It's an important program because the cruise industry is one of the fastest growing aspects of the hospitality and tourism industry. And some people have said it's recession proof, because even when the economy downturns, that industry still keeps on growing and growing. So we try to give our students good experience, and we do that through the cruise course. And we have our students as part of the course, they're taking an actual cruise. So part of it's classroom, part of it's learning about the management aspects of the cruise industry, but the other part of it is to experience what a cruise is, to understand what good customer service is. And so therefore the students take a cruise. So they're cruising on Norwegian Cruise Lines, an excellent cruise line. And we're working with them, developing other internship programs, developing placement programs. We work very actively with American Cruise Lines. They hire over the summer about 10 or 12 of our students each summer to work aboard their ships, and they tend to they'll sail up both the Atlantic and Pacific coasts, so it's more of a regional type cruise line. But our students get great experiences that way, great exposure to the industry, and several of them also working full-time for that cruise line too.
I'm hoping our listening audience is taking advantage of certainly the knowledge base that you are giving them about what this program at Niagara offers, because it isn't a hotel job or it isn't a restaurant job. We're talking about a field of hospitality that transcends probably every field in the entertainment and the hospitality field. And a graduate of this program is able to serve the population with good service and with good communication skills, and is able to function 100% for the company and certainly for the customer. And I think that as they search for colleges and programs for their high school students, this is one they should consider in a field that has a lot of opportunities. And I think you've said that several times, that even the recession has not affected it, because there's a certain dollar that is spent every year in the entertainment field or hospitality field or transportation travel field. I know that you're always looking for future students, and how can they get more information about the program at Niagara University?
Jerry, there's several ways. They can look at our website, which is www.niagara.edu/hospitality, and they'll get some good information there. But we like to talk to people. Every student is different. They have different interests, and we tend to have a very customized kind of program. So they can also call us at 716-286-8272, and we'll be able to talk to them. Like to have people come on campus, see what we do, because the interesting part is, let's face it, not a lot of people hear about the hospitality and tourism industry. And a lot of times they don't understand that there are tremendous management jobs like what you'll see in other kinds of industries. And once they hear about it, they see what the great opportunities are. But it's a great field for someone who wants to be a manager, who has great interpersonal skills, who wants to work with people, who doesn't want to be sitting behind a desk all day, but wants to be face-to-face, with people, and every day is a little bit different on the job. And you know yourself from your own experience about event management and how different it is and how exciting it is. So that's the kind of student that we look to have, and we have tremendous career opportunities. And as a matter of fact, even with the recession, the way it's been the last number of years, even in the worst of the recessionary years, we were having record number of companies coming to our career fair.
Yeah, it seems that your program seems to function no matter what the conditions are in the business world, because again, a certain percentage of that dollar is spent in that field. Therefore, it's going to continue to grow and provide opportunities. Your culinary part of the program is very interesting. Since I always take advantage and come to the student dinners during the year, tell us a little bit about that, because you're not teaching them to be a waitress or waiter, you're not teaching them to be a cook, but you're giving them the opportunity to explore the back of the house as far as a restaurant is concerned. They're actually getting to experience, as a manager of a restaurant, what it's like to be in the other jobs within that restaurant.
And Jerry, that's correct. Because as you pointed out, our students are trained to be managers. But to be a manager in the food service industry, you have to understand what happens in the back of the house. You have to understand about food preparation. So we have a couple of courses on food preparation, and so the students then would have back of the house type of experience, which would then go along with the kind of management courses they would have with courses like, say, like cost control and purchasing and menu development and other kinds of management type courses, so they get a complete picture. And what the students will do is that as part of learning more about the industry that way, they'll put on a dinner series. And you'll have student teams will run that dinner series, and some are in charge of back of the house, some are in charge of front of the house, and they'll make it into an event so that they understand the full aspect of what it is to really run a first-rate quality restaurant operation.
Many of the students that I have in the course I teach in attractions and tourism management, I will ask, how many want to be event planners? And I'm always amazed to find 60 to 70% of them want to do events. Events transcend all industries, because you could be in banking and be in charge of events for the bank. You can be in government and be doing event planning. So an event planner is a new field. There's always been wedding planners, but now event planners in all these different hospitality industries has become a very important part. Has that always been in your view that that was going to happen?
Yes, it is, because the reason being is this reason, because the way we look at the hospitality and tourism and sport industry, we look at it from an event point of view. We look at the most basic skill that you can have is one of event management, because somehow, some way, you're going to be working on an event. And Jerry, you gave a good example of the breadth of companies or the breadth of areas where students can be working on events. And it goes into, say, like as an example, the sport industry. The sport industry is one major event. And those events tend to put it this way, be associated with food. And so food is always a major part of the event aspect. But again, that comes back to hospitality. And it could be, like as you said, it could be at hospitals, it could be at convention centers. It can be, one of our alums had a tremendous position with Dr. Pepper's 7-Up out of their corporate office, working in the event management area and the promotion area. But you're right, almost any company of any kind of size, they put on events. They hold conferences, they hold meetings. So you need event planners.
You're going to have a new master's in sports management, and I'd like a few minutes we have left you to talk about the sports management program and the Super Bowl and the World Series and the NHL hockey game, certainly the cup that we would love the Sabres to win. Tell us about the sports management program.
Sport program is an interesting program. We started at Jerry about 12 years ago. It started with a couple of courses as a concentration, the tourism program. Because of its growth, and it became a full major in our college. But it makes so much sense because sport itself is so related to tourism and so related to hospitality. A lot of the sport positions, they'll ask for people that have hospitality training because, as an example, like I said before, you can't disentangle, food operations from sport operations or country clubs. Again, another aspect for sport that we do so well on the hospitality side. And now we've added a master's program. Master's program will be starting soon in our college, and it'll be a master's in sport management.
So I want to thank you very much for being with us today, and we look forward to having you come back and tell us about new programs and the success at the College of Hospitality.
Thank you very much for having me here today, Jerry.
I want to thank our listening audience for tuning in again to hear the successful information and ventures that our guest, Dr. Gary Praetzel from the College of Hospitality and Tourism, has given us. We look forward to seeing you again soon on Target Success.